Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name is Ross, and as always told, I had a voice radio. So today, I am showing you another card that I've been waiting on a little bit too long. It's Wobbuffet. Wobbuffet is a card I quickly looked past and didn't pay it much mention, but I should have. Now, it is coming out in the Ash vs Team Rocket deck in Japan. No word on how we're going to get this in the US, UK, etc. We've already looked at some cards from this. We looked at Mimikyu GX, we looked at Pikachu GX, we looked at Team Rocket's Harassment. Today we're looking at Wobbuffet. Now, Wobbuffet is a psychic Pokemon, which means you're hitting weakness against things like Mega Mewtwo and Espeon. He is a basic Pokemon, which means easier to get into play, means you can use Nest Ball to search him out, and means that you can use Fighting Fury Belt, give him a bit of extra HP, or you can use, or I suppose, and you can use if you wish, Max Elixir, that item card that allows you to accelerate energy onto your benched basic Pokemon. And that could be important, because Wobbuffet needs 2 energy here. Now, his retreat cost of 2 is a little bit awkward and annoying. You want to kind of put a float stone onto Wobbuffet, but we've already mentioned Fighting Fury Belt, and there's a big argument for Choice Band here, allowing you to do 30 more to EXs and GXs, so he kind of needs more than one tool, and he doesn't have the ancient trait that allows him to have more than one tool. Now, he's only got 1 attack, ladies and gentlemen, but it is a doozy. Psychic, colourless. Flip a coin for each of your Pokemon in play, 30 damage for each heads. Now let's assume that you've got a full bench, 5 Pokemon, plus your active Wobbuffet, 6 Pokemon. Each coin can be heads or tails, 2 possibilities, which means on average, you'll hit 3 heads out of 6 and do 90 damage. It's not bad. Now, you could do 0 if you hit all tails, you could do 180 if you hit all heads, but on average you're going to be hitting for 90 here. I mentioned Choice Band a moment ago allows you to do 30 more to EXs and GXs, which means you'll now be doing an average of 120 for 2 energy on a non-GX basic. And let's not forget about the Victini from Guardians Rising, which has the same ability. Although you then might hit fewer heads and do even less damage. But that's when you've got 6 Pokemon in play. You could play Skyfield here, and with 8 bench Pokemon, you could have 9 Pokemon in play. That's pretty gosh darn sweet. Now, that'll give you an average of 135 damage per turn, but of course, you're not going to hit 4.5 heads, which means on average, on a full bench, you're averaging potentially a 1-hit KO. Secret of the fact I don't think is a skill I possess. I'm aware it's luck, but I just don't seem to be able to flip heads. But if you can flip heads, oh my goodness, this can be an awful lot of fun. Big downside of Wobbuffet, you need 2 energy, including a psychic, which means it's not that easy to just chuck into a deck as an extra attacker. And only having 110 HP could be a bit of a pain, because not only do you need to get those 2 energy onto Wobbuffet, but you've got to assume that you're going to need to do it pretty much every turn. Little bit awkward. Now, you can use EXP share here to when your Pokemon gets KO'd, for a Psychic and a Colourless, so you could use a Darkrai deck here, use an EX, and off you go. Or you could use Lunala here, but on your Wobbuffet, and then attach a Psychic or a Rainbow Energy afterwards. Because this could be a game-swinging attack. This could be an, my opponent's up by 2 prizes, boom, now we're tied attack. This could be an I don't X, in which I think this could be really good. Firstly, Mega Mewtwo. Because you're Psychic, you are hitting for weakness, this could give you a real edge in the mirror match, using a basic non-EX to take down a Mega Mewtwo for 2 prizes. Though you do run into the issue of, if you bench your Wobbuffet and put an energy, your opponent's probably, so it might not be the end of the world here. By 7 prize game, AO a Wobbuffet as well, and 2 EXs, they've only taken 5 prizes, so they still need by KOing Wobbuffet. But I just worry, like I say, about getting that second energy on Wobbuffet, because Mewtwo decks tend to play Mega Turbo, they don't tend to play things. Certainly some Mega Gardevoir decks have played Max Elixir instead of Mega Turbo, and seen some success. But the other deck I really like this in is Rayquaza. Use Psychic Energy. Could be fun. And of course, you could then that placed, I believe it was 9th at the Brazilian International Championships, that put these Wobbuffet in Rayquaza, along with 1 Victini in order to allow you to reflip. If you've got 2 spaces in your deck, you might as well put 2 basic Pokemon in, because remember, Rayquaza is a deck that wants Pokemon on the bench. Same issue of getting energy, the second one onto Wobbuffet, because again, another deck that tends to on there, it's really good. And what I'm really thinking here is Giratina. Giratina really shuts down Rayquaza. It's not easy to play against, but Wobbuffet can be pretty nice against Giratina with the second energy. I'm not saying that he's the perfect tech to win every matchup. I'm saying that when you could be averaging 150 to 180 damage for 2 energy on a basic, that really is something that could swing the game. I'm going to give Wobbuffet between. Recently gave the idea of giving 3 Wassies and a crouching Wassie as a half. That is something I could maybe get on board with in the future. I love Wobbuffet, but I don't think it's going to be the thing that really makes a deck perfect and puts it over the edge, but I think it could be a really nice tech in the right deck. Now you know the deal. There's a comment section. Go nuts. Be nice. Make sure you follow me on Twitter @TheWassie. Make sure you like and subscribe to this